Hello and welcome to I Helped Make That. Now, are you familiar with the hit Hulu show Ramy? If so, do you know the character of Steve? Well, we have Steve's actor, Steve Way, on the show. Welcome, Steve.
Hey, what's up, man? Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. But before we do anything, let's just get the Anchor ad out of the way. So, do you want to create your own podcast, but you don't know how? If so, try Anchor today because Anchor is the easiest podcasting platform to use. All you do is sign up for an account, then you can post on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those platforms. So, if you want to create your own podcast, try Anchor today. All right. So, Steve, I heard that you had a previous relationship with Ramy Yousseff, the creator and star of the show. How did you two meet?
Yeah, Rami and I go way back. We met in the fifth grade, which was almost 22 years ago. So we've grown up together. We only lived like a couple blocks away. So we went through middle school, high school together. He went to college pretty close. So we remained very, very close friends until he moved to Los Angeles. Um, at that point, only the distance really separated us. But yeah, 22 years, we're still going strong.
Cool. So then, how did you? So he got into like acting and you got into acting. Did you both decide to become actors when you were growing up together?
But yeah, we got into comedy in high school. Um, the high school that we went to has a TV studio in the basement. So ever since we were 14, we had access to camera, sound, and editing equipment. And it was right when YouTube started taking off. So we would just take cameras out and make, internet videos, stuff like that. And the older we got, the better we got. And that evolved into Rami doing sketch comedy and then stand up, and he encouraged me to do that. And we just kind of combined all of it into acting.
Nice. So when Rami moved to LA and eventually got his own show, did he like call you up and tell you that he had gotten his own show, or did you find out another way?
I knew he was working on it for a while. He kept me updated throughout the whole process. With the pitching, meeting with networks, filming the pilot, all that stuff. When he got the green light, basically he was like, "Yeah, Steve, I'm gonna write you a part." And I still had to earn it, but Rami really vouched for me and fought for me. And yeah, that's how I got on this pitch show.
Cool. So did you like have to basically audition for a part that he had written for you?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's a little indicative on how the industry treats disabled performers. Rami went to the network and the producers. I was like, "Hey, I have this part for Steve," and they're like, "Great, who's gonna play Steve?" And Rami's like, "Well, Steve is gonna play Steve," and I eventually had to audition for my own role. But luckily they thought I was good enough, and yeah, I got the part.
All right. Great. So tell me, what's it like to film an episode of Rami? Like, Could you like give us a look at the process?
So Ramy will basically have an idea, and he'll call me up while he's in the writer's room, and he'll be like, Steve, I have this idea. What do you think about it? I want it to be specific to you and your disability. So we would work together to make sure that this scenario is done exactly how I would do it. He'll write it out, he'll get notes, send me the script, we'll go over it, and then we just show up to set and react the hell out of it.
Hmm. Now, like usually on comedy shows, there's room for a lot of improv. So, how much room is there for improv on the set of Rami?
There is so much room for improv. I would say that whenever you see a scene where Rami and I have a conversation, um, I would say that the final cut of that is at least 50% improv. And I think that's just because Rami and I know each other so well. Like I said, we go back over 20 years and we really understand our comedic styles because we influenced each other. And at the end of the day, we're homies, so we're having fun. Yeah, it's our job, it's work. But, when we do that last take where we just throw the script out the window and have fun, I think and that just shows how good we are as comedic actors. But I think it just shows how strong our friendship is.
Yeah. And what's it like collaborating with Gerard Carmichael? Like, do you ever interact with him, or is it more Rami who interacts with him?
That's more Rami. That's the overall structure of the show. But Gerard is obviously brilliant and is one of the best comedic voices of our time. And to have him part of the show is just an added gift to every moving part that's involved. Obviously everyone is very good in their own right. Everyone plays a part. No one is better than anyone else. But to have his comedic brain really shows on screen.
Hmm. And what's it like working with the other actors, especially the other guys playing Rami's friends?
It's an absolute dream come true. They're so good, and I would not be as good as I am on camera if it wasn't for them. We all feed off each other, and at the end of the day, we have fun. It doesn't feel like work because we love it so much.
Hmm.
And I'm very proud and thankful to call those guys my friends now.
Hmm.
And they give me invaluable advice,
Hmm.
whether it's acting or stand-up comedy. But their friendship is, better than any award or recognition that should ever come out of this experience.
Hmm. Yeah. Now, you seem like a very nice guy, but Steve, the way he's portrayed in Rami, isn't always the nicest guy. Like, was that your idea or was that his?
No, this is pretty much who I really am. Uh,
Really?
yeah, I think if you got to know me, you probably wouldn't like me that much. My friends are not afraid to call me a douchebag, but it's definitely like a heightened version of myself. I think that the dynamic between Rami and I is definitely exaggerated. But what I really like about my character is that I'm really the only one who was able to really call Rami out. And I think what's really cool is that, yes, my character is disabled, but in 3 seasons of that show, I think the words muscular dystrophy are said only once. Like I'm not Ramy's disabled friend. I'm Ramy's friend who just happens to be disabled. And I think that really gives us a lot of freedom when it comes to the personality of my character. Yeah, I definitely sometimes have traits like that, but it's television, so we crank it up more. And like I said, I think it's really fun that I get to play that character who gets to call Rami out without having to really face the consequences for it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's actually kind of interesting because admittedly many attempts in of Hollywood trying to portray disability. In fact, I covered one of those attempts as I think the third episode of my show tends to just characterize disabled or just characters who look different in general as just disabled with no other characteristics. Not all the time, but many times. And I think that is one thing great about your character is that he is just a character who happens to be disabled, but it's not like his main personality trait or or God forbid his only
Yeah,
personality trait.
yeah, it's not about the disability. Like my character talks about things that all the other characters talk about. Getting a job, having a place to stay, relationships, just going out having fun. And yes, obviously I do it differently, but I think that's what's really great about this opportunity is that we're able to show exactly how someone like me does that. And obviously it's not how every disabled person does it. It's very specific to me, but it's still more than what is shown on television. Every other time disability is portrayed.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And not just with disability, but the show in general just does such a great job at how do I say this? Being able to portray real life struggles that aren't just about someone's disability or ethnicity or gender, etc., but being able to relate that in a way that makes it understandable to everyone. Like, yes, it'll talk about, like, there'll be many shows talking about Rami's Rami's religion or 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 um or how the sister or the mother view themselves view themselves in the world because of how again their religion says they should act as women, but then sort of turns it around to make it sort of a struggle that's relatable, to everyone else.
Yeah, and
That
I think that's very similar to the Steve character.
mm-hmm,
You expect him to do something one way and he does it totally different,
mm-hmm,
right? Because that's what is expected of somebody who looks like me. And we do it in a way that makes the audience relate to it, whether you're disabled or not. And I
mm-hmm,
think that's the beauty of it because it is so authentic. Anyone, regardless of ability, is able to relate to my character.
mm-hmm.
And I take a lot of pride in that because it's not easy to do. I think that's a real testament to Rami's writing and our acting together. And it's again, it's just something that I'm really proud of.
Yeah. Yeah, and just in general, I think that's just what what's so great is about the writing is that anyone can see themselves in any of these characters. Like, just sort of the struggle about, living in your 20s and wondering what you're going to do next in life, or or just sort of the struggle of, you know, living up to someone's expectations of you, or just or just the expectations of your culture. But what's also really great is like everyone gets a chance to sort of develop as a character, and we learn sort of new things about them that makes them more three-dimensional.
Yeah, there's a lot of nuance to all the characters, and I think that's really beautiful. And that's what makes the show so strong. Is that all those characters are well defined. We all know what their motivations are, and I think that really shows on screen. And like you said, the three dimensional aspect of that really helps. Especially with somebody like me. I think you and I both know that disabled characters on TV and in movies aren't usually like that. Like you said before, they're just all about their disability. And I think that's what makes this show and my characters so unique is that we did our best to stay so far away from that. And I'd like to think that after 3 seasons, we've done a pretty good job at that.
Yeah, great. Now, I've heard that you are actually creating your own show now. Is that still happening?
Yeah, we're working on it. Um, we're shopping it around. We have the brilliant Judd Apatow helping us produce that. So it almost doesn't feel real. It feels pretty surreal to have probably the best comedic director of our time, believe in my story and my idea and want to get this made.
Yeah, wait, how did you get Judd Apatow to produce your show?
I'm just that good, man. Come on. No, Ramy was he's had conversations with him before and he showed him our pilot script and he was on board right away. And
Oh,
he's been such an important voice throughout this entire developmental process.
yeah, wow, that's great. Now I know there are 3 seasons of Rami. Is a fourth one in production?
No comment.
Okay. Eh,
I,
NDA?
uh, no, it's just I'm looking out for my boy.
Right. Okay.
Like I said, at the end of the day, he's one of my oldest friends, so
Yeah, that's fair.
we look out for each other.
Okay. All right. Well, besides your show, do you have anything else to plug?
Um, yeah, I actually just started a Substack where I write like personal essays. I talk about different experiences in my life. Just what's it like being disabled. Of course, I try to make it as funny as possible. Um, so check that out. TheSteveWay.substack.com. My Instagram, TikTok, at the Steve Way. I have a couple projects in the works. Can't really talk about just yet, so we'll save that for part two. But yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Well, thank you again, Steve, so much for coming on to the show.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anyway, that was I Help Make That, and I'll see you all later.